Where's that? A yoga mat. Sweet. So yeah, my story so far. It really did start at a place called Mbakun. It was a program called The Catalyst. And it was this nature connection kind of week with other people around my age. And I remember going to it. I didn't really know what to expect at all. It was basically a week removed from all that I've known and placed me right in nature. And through the facilitators there and, you know, the guidance and the rituals, there was a stone circle on the land. And over the next couple days after I arrived, we did, you know, exercises. We talked and we listened. I actually have a video on the Mbakun YouTube channel that explains it quite well too. But it was the first time in my life where I truly did listen to other people, I think. So the reason Mbakun is so important to my story is because that's what I based off my future experiences by. Now that I felt this connection, I wanted to keep that and build on it and make new, meaningful connections. So when I decided to go traveling, I really needed to just be independent, go out and prove to myself that I can survive on my own and, you know, handle things, independently. So I look at Mbakun as the anchor to which I went forward, and subsequently had an amazing trip. Now, the good thing that I've done is I've journaled my whole experience this past year, from Mbakun to all the way up till now. I think I've got about six or seven journals. So they're a really good insight into my mindset at the time and what I wanted and what I was looking for. And that's how in this video I tell kind of my where I was sitting at the time. So I first went to Australia. For 3 months I lived in Perth. I've got some family there. I got a job in Australia. I worked as a bartender and I met a really good friend out there. But after 3 months it was time to go. Oh, there's a horse right there. Some horses have raided my sit spot. And whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Maybe I smell good. Hey, stop. Oh, hey, no, not the yoga mat. Go. Had to move because that horse wouldn't leave me alone. And now it's raining. That's all right. So, as I was saying, Bali. The first week I went to the northeast and I did a freediving course. And it was cool because it was my first time in Asia. So I was just kind of soaking all this up and experiencing a place that I've never been before. So then it was time for me to go to this permaculture farm. Now, this is where things really shifted for me. There were 2 other volunteers at this farm, and they were vegan. You know, they had done some activism, and throughout this month we basically just chatted, and I got a real perspective on their view of life. And they told me a lot of things about factory farming, you know, the meat industry, the dairy industry, about farming practices and pesticides, you know, the things that are in our water system back here in England. And it really was kind of like cold water shock, a lot of the things I was hearing, because I just didn't know beforehand. So then I was in this farm and I got to live within nature completely. I got to also do design work about nature and about food. So this is where my interest in you know, within the kitchen really began. So I started documenting all the plants, all the herbs, all the vegetables, and we cooked. We fermented vinegars, yogurts. This is where I really fell in love with herbal tea. Didn't really like it before, but after going to this farm, it was like my favorite thing to have in the morning. So it was a real eye-opener, and it was a glimpse into this world that I really wanted to know more about, and I wanted to experience more, because it made me feel so at peace, you know, so content and curious as well. You know, I would go through walks and runs throughout the rainforest. You know, it was deep in the middle of the island, so I got to see locals working and building, and yeah, it was a really interesting time. And that was Bali, so I had kind of this hint at what life can be like. So yeah, that was Bali, and then it was time for my next adventure, which was Vietnam. So a friend that I met in Australia, we decided to spend 3 weeks biking and wild camping around the north. And that was amazing, because that was like travel in the truest sense of the term. We were able to go deep into these rural communities because we were just sleeping in the forests. So we didn't need hostels or hotels. And our daily routine was like wake up, pack down camp, put it all on the bike, leave, ride for like 3-4 hours a day, decide to get lunch, and then decide where we want to do our next camp, and then string up our hammocks and went to bed and slept for like 11 hours a night, 12 hours a night. So that was a real sense of adventure, and a real challenging one. Like, I pushed myself, we both did, very physically. And the one thing it did teach me was a lot about teamwork. You know, me and my mate Marcus, we only had each other, and there was only us out there. So in times when he was low energy, I could like pick it up and encourage us, and then when I was low, he would do the same. So it was this really nice kind of relationship in which we conquered this trip, and we did it well, and we enjoyed it. And then the food in Vietnam, the pho and the rice, and there was a lot of pork. So I came from being vegan to then being in like deep Vietnamese lands. So I was just judging for myself kind of what felt good to me. So I did that trip, and that was amazing. And then it was time to go to India. Now, I met an Indian friend in Bali who said, come to my hometown called Kashti. And I just went, sure, why not? So I flew to Mumbai, took a 4-hour bus to Pune, and then got a lift with him to his hometown. And this is a place where I got invited to a home, and I had mum cooked Indian food. And I had this real insight into a life we don't really know about here in England, and the traditions and the culture and the rituals they do. I got a real sense of how important food was. You know, food is a time when the family came together, and it was a time to socialize and enjoy it, and yeah, really celebrate the thing that fuels us every day. And then what really kind of struck me was when I went to Patan, which was my friend's friend, who owned a permaculture farm. Now here I am again in another permaculture farm, but now in India. And this was amazing. I saw this little town, their street food, you know, their kind of way of life. And in this little town, I got the strongest sense of community. Now in India, there's like one big family. I think Jayesh's dad worked in the government, and they basically help out the whole village, because India is so large, the government can't help out everyone. So Jayesh and his family kind of run this farm and help the village and help each other out. And it was amazing to see, because I never seen something like that before. And these farmers that just were working by hand in the sun, you know, and their dads were probably farmers, and their dad's dad. And it was humbling how hard these people worked, because they had to survive, they had to put food on the table. And then to see Jayesh's and Dev's business, Forester Farms, I got to see some of their products, and you know, they invited me to their home and they treated me so nicely, so welcoming. And that's what I love about India. My experience was so warm, and is a reason why I definitely want to go back there again. But then, yeah, we just traveled their town. We went to a cave, a 5,000-year-old cave. I actually got on the Instagram of the guy that owns the cave, or runs it, sorry. So then, the next part of my adventure, I was kind of getting bombarded with all this amazing experiences. I did a 3-week, quite intense yoga teacher training course, where we woke up at 5 a.m, did 2 hours of yoga, some kriya. We ate sattvic food, which was amazing. Now I could experience food in this kind of environment, where sattvic is vegetarian minus eggs. And wow, the spices they used and how it came from such a good source. You know, the ashram farms are huge apparently, and they don't use any harmful pesticides or herbicides. And that is what really fueled us on this course, because it was probably one of the hardest things I ever did. But just traveling around the ashram, going to the satsangs, you know, dancing, laughing, singing with these people and these friends that I made, it was really, really amazing. And it's something I've taken home with me, and I've kept that very precious to my heart, because it was such a privilege to see from being as an outsider and getting this glimpse of what an ashram in Bangalore in south of India is like. So that was cool. And then after that I went home, and it was a bit of a adjustment period, because I wanted to really learn what I saw and apply it to now my future, which is what I'm doing. It's given me some real direction. I think that's why traveling is so important. It puts you in alien environments and tells you to, okay, handle it. And I think I'm a person that really takes it on and can see the bigger picture a lot of the time, and see what I can do with these skills and these lessons. And it was 7-8 months of traveling that I'll remember for the rest of my life. You know, it was out of this world, quite literally. So that was my travels, and that's kind of my story so far. And I'm excited to see what it has in store for me next. So thanks for listening. See you later.